Hey everybody, welcome on in. It is time for Three Guys Before the Game. It's episode number 683. It's our recap of West Virginia against the Buckeyes of Ohio State. The fellas, both wearing blue, darn near the same outfits there. Hoppy is in, the Senator is in, and we're ready to go. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by GoMart. Get yourself a GoMart rewards card. Go to GoMart.com for details. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. They're a brand new Honda McLaren racing motor and a premium dealership. The only one in West Virginia. Three Guys also brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. And by Comex Business Systems. Keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law, they simply won't take no for an answer. And by Conley CPA Group. They'll be providing spreads on stats coming up momentarily. All right, here we go. Super weird. We have a little technical issue, so I'm not wearing headphones, and it's the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because
I don't hear myself.
Right.
It doesn't feel right. Brad, are you feeling okay?
I've done how many episodes of this show?
Yeah.
368, 381.
This is 683.
Not sure I've ever worn headphones.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
Whereas veteran radio guys
wear headphones.
wear headphone people.
Or old radio guys, however you want to categorize that.
Veteran sounds better.
Yeah, I know it makes
me,
you feel
but...
awkward to not have them.
Yes, Brad, it does. However, we're prepared to do the broadcast.
All right, we've come together today to look back at West Virginia's last basketball game Saturday night. Memorable for a bunch of different reasons. Double overtime. 89-88. Ohio State knocks off West Virginia. The Mountaineers, 10-point lead at the break, and had that lead up to as many as 16 points at the 14:03 mark in the second half, and you thought, this is good. But Ohio State rallied, and the guy that we talked a ton about going into the game, Bruce Thornton, finally warmed up and finished up with 23 points, including the game winner. He played all but 1 minute and 8 seconds of the game.
And chased Honor Huff defensively for the majority of that game. Now, it affected him late. As we commented multiple times, he was gassed at the end and wasn't able to stay in front of Honor, but offensively, he still had enough in the tank to make those last couple, and he's a player. Big-time player came through in the end.
Absolutely. So now West Virginia has several days off. Don't play again until Monday the 22nd. So you've got all this week. You're off this Saturday. You're going to play the Fighting Jerry Rices of Mississippi Valley State Monday the 22nd, and then you got another extended break. You go from 22 all the way to January 2. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
How long of a break?
A game in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, rare this time of year.
And you might be able to say that's a good thing right now for this Mountaineer basketball team.
Hope that's the case. Get some rest and recovery and practice, continue to hone in and work on some things, and then be ready to go as you hit the road for what is a massively difficult stretch to open this season.
Brutal. I started to peak.
Big 12 season.
I started to peak yesterday because I hadn't looked. I knew we were going to open up against Iowa State, and then I knew Cincinnati was second. But then I said, okay, what after that? Kansas and Houston. Three of your first four along with Iowa State.
You can't, and maybe it'll change once you get into conference play and things will start to sort out a little bit. But you look at that schedule, you can't find. You're like, oh, okay, we're fine here. You can't find one.
No,
this league right now, top to bottom, Brad, is just brutal.
We say it every year. It's the best league in America. This year, it might have taken a clip up. And you're right. Things will maybe shake themselves out as we get into season as injuries play out for some folks. But I was looking this morning at some things. 4 of the top 9 teams in the Ken Pom rating are out of the Big 12. 4 of the top 9. 7 of the top 35. But then here's the season. Here comes the season, this next number. And it's one of those things, to your all's point, I agree with you. The depth in this league is unparalleled. There's some bad basketball teams in the Big 12, or in the Big 10. There's some bad teams in the ACC, massively. There's games where you roll in, play your C game, you're going to get wins, right? I mean, the ACC's losing every game they play to Hofstra.
Right.
All due respect to Hofstra and Speedy Claxton. But every time an ACC team plays Hofstra beats them. There's bad teams. But in the Big 12, there's just not. But here's where your season comes from, and here's the depth. There's 7 teams in this league that are now ranked between 54 and 71 in Ken Palm. That's the decider right there.
Yep.
What do those teams look like? Arizona State, who was supposed to be really bad this year, and Hurley's on a scorching hot seat, and they're no good, and Arizona State doesn't have players. They have 2 dudes, guys, that show up every single week in best performances from the Big 12 each week. They have guys in there. I mean, they're playing really well, have some wins. There's just not a night off, but what happens to all those 7 teams that are in essence coin flip games when you go in there, if you're West Virginia at this point? What happens in those 7?
What happens in those coin flips at the same time? You got to play the Houstons, the Arizonas, the BYUs. I mean, Arizona, didn't they just set a record? Like they beat top
5 ranked teams in their first, I think it's 9 games.
First 9 games.
Yeah, they're at a different cut right now.
It's like you're coming off these games where you played Ohio State and Clemson. It's like that and more all the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big boy basketball every single time. So we'll get into that. We've got Textual Healing. Also, Brad brought in the 3 very large boxes.
I saw that.
From one of our P1 listeners, Tommy Boy, out of Independence.
Yep.
He's still in Independence, is he?
But I believe we'll just refer to him as Tommy Boy from Independence.
Tommy Boy from Independence. We got this big package, and then there's 2 more down here, and they're not light, right?
Not light. I know what 2 of the 3 are.
I know what that one is because I stuck my hand through the hole.
You can smell it, too.
Yeah. Pineapple.
Oh.
He gets these pineapples literally from Hawaii.
They're
Brings them in
tremendous.
from Hawaii. So we got
Tremendous.
that. Yeah, we got that going on. All right. Again, operating here a little bit naked.
No hill for a climber. We're good.
So we're going to go Hoppy's obvious observations and without headsets, so I hope the mix isn't bad.
He's got thoughts that sound brand new, but they're things we already knew. He's got his lip balm ready, heaven knows. Let's make it quick before his splatter blows. It's Hoppy's obvious observations.
That's right, baby. I got one for you to start.
What's that?
Snowed over the weekend.
Did it?
Go ahead.
Snowed and cold. Some things already touched on. I just thought, listening to you guys, it was just a heartbreaking loss. A game where you had an ideal opportunity to beat a quality opponent. And I went back yesterday. I did some of my own research. And at the Tony, you referenced it. At the 13:52 mark, West Virginia was up 16. And I went through each play from that point forward. And Ohio State was 11 of 16 from that point on, 69%. Talked about Thornton, Mobley, Bynum, and a lot of points in the paint. And Brad, you'll probably talk about that. They were really good in the paint. West Virginia, in that same period, from the time they were up 16, was 4 of 17.
Wow.
24%. So rather than look at the whole game, I looked at those last critical 14 minutes. West Virginia in the second half, 8 of 12 from free throw. Okay, that's 67%, but in a game where you lost by a point and it was tied at the end, all those matter. Thornton, we talked about. I mean, he's a dude, heated up in the second half, and even when his outside shot wasn't falling, Brad, what is he? He's a scorer, right? He's a guy that can score. Mississippi Valley's next, then you begin what we talked about, just a brutal conference schedule. You got to go to Ohio State. A couple other notes beyond the West Virginia men. West Virginia women finished their non-conference schedule, dominating on the road at Texas A&M, 63-45, forced the Aggies into 24 turnovers, and the Aggies shot just 34%. Kara Wheeler, fourth double-double of the season, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and Coach Kellogg finishes the non-conference schedule with 4 straight wins.
I don't think many people on the campus at Texas A&M are going to spend a whole lot of time being bummed out about the loss to West Virginia after what their volleyball team did yesterday.
Yes.
I mean, Nebraska, that was one of those deals where they already went to the trophy shop and already put Nebraska's name on the championship trophy. No one was supposed to be able to sniff them.
Right.
And Texas A&M's volleyball team beat them yesterday, so just a monumental victory.
That was historic for A&M to even get to that point. They were on a run they haven't had in decades there in volleyball.
Finally, a little nugget for you guys. On this day, December 15th in 1973, Tennessee beat Temple in basketball 11-6.
Oh, they held it.
11-6. Temple used the intentional stall tactic.
What year? 75?
73.
73.
To try to win the game. They stalled and still lost. 11-6. It was the lowest scoring NCAA basketball game ever, and always will be, because back then, what? No shot clock.
But now you're assuming some teams just don't come out cold one of these days. Get an 11-6 final.
12. The shot clock did not come in until 12 years later. But on this day, 1973, 11-6 was the final as the Vols knocked off the Owls at home to have the lowest scoring NCAA basketball game ever.
I'm a longtime advocate of liking super weird stuff in sports.
You like
right?
that?
I still like no shot clock in high school. I think, yeah, it's the great equalizer. If you don't have the horses to run up and down with somebody, I think it's just a strategy play.
It is, but Tony, how many, all due respect to high school basketball players and coaches, how many high school basketball games have we seen where a team says, we're going to just run some clock?
Backfire.
And it backfires because it's hard to do.
Absolutely.
Effectively. I got some things I'll bring to you next time, but this is also an important anniversary for basketball in general. I'll do that for you next time.
Now he's teasing obvious out. Can you tease an obvious observation? I mean, can you tease one? Could you imagine trying to do the play-by-play of a team that holds the ball for an 11-6 game? That's one. Yeah. Two, how long did that game take to play? Think about that. I mean, that clock just rolls. I bet the thing was done less than an hour.
Let me check. While you all discuss other things, I'll try to check. You hate what?
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
There's all various kinds of strategy. Sports have their various kinds of strategy where you can do that kind of stuff, right? Hop?
Yeah, but what they did, too, I think, and maybe there wasn't an enforcement of, I think two guards just sat out there and passed the ball back and forth, and Tennessee didn't come out.
But let me ask you this. And Hoppy will be old enough to remember. Brad, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but North Carolina and Dean Smith.
4 corners.
When they went 4 corners after they got a lead, it was magical. It was absolutely magical execution of how they would just drain it. I used to love watching that.
North Carolina's going into the 4 corners.
Exactly.
Then you'd foul them and they'd make their free throws and just.
Just saying. Well, Hoppy, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, that was something we already knew. Obvious thoughts from Hoppy's point of view. This segment has been brought to us by Blistex. Lip balm in the blue can, soft lips, smooth talk. That's the plan.
And Hoppy's obvious observation, still without a sponsor. You know, we took a lot of heat last episode from your obvious observations. Several people texted in being a little too hard on you.
I'm no hill for a climber. I'm good. I'm fine. I can hold my own. But thank you. Thank you for the kind gestures. But I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, someone that wasn't me said, "Are you kidding me? The vitriol and the shots that he's taken as a talk show host, I think he can defend himself."
Yeah, I've gotten a lot worse. There's been a lot worse over the years. So
yeah,
believe me.
No counseling is needed?
No, thanks to therapy years ago, I'm perfectly capable of handling these kinds of things. Self-actualized, in fact.
Absolutely. The Mountaineers, as we said, let's jump in here with spreads on stats. The numbers from this game, when I was just thinking about it, running it through, I watched it back yesterday, and the thing that stood out to me is how many times there was just one play. If you made that play right there, done. One play. I mean, baseline out of bounds, stepping over the end line. At least 3, how many? 4 total.
Sideline and end line.
Sideline
They weren't
and-
all end line.
I mean,
4.
Just one here, one there, took away a basket.
Honor Huff wears one size smaller shoe. Toe was on the line.
Yeah,
Barely a toe, right?
Yeah,
Those are just a couple of the. I thought there were 7 or 8 different categories we could go find where if one of those, one play within those 7 or 8 categories, not combined, just one of, that changes the whole complexion of the game. It's tough, and I think that's where you walk away with disappointing is probably the word that's there. That's a game you not could have won the game, should have won the game. Up 10 at halftime, up 16, and I'll get into it. And there's, as we always say, there's always a couple sides to this, and the overriding arching theme is going to be disappointing. Would have been great for your resume, would have been great for team confidence, would have been great for this staff to be able to stand in front of the team and say, that's what we're talking about, both offensively and defensively. You see, it works. And you still can do that, and you still get that for 99% of that game. That's as good a job as you can do defensively on one of the best players in America. Offensively, you saw what can happen when multiple guys are playing, and I've got some numbers that'll back some of this up, but it was one of those games that you're right there. You just didn't get the result at the end. So there's a ton to build on. It shows how close this is, but you walk away in a results business saying, dang it. Just like Clemson, 2 double-digit leads late in the second half against 2 very good teams, and you had them and just couldn't make that one play you needed to.
Need to even it out, man. During the course of the upcoming schedule, you got to get a couple that you probably don't deserve to win. You got to find a way to steal a couple of games, and hopefully it evens itself out.
Here's my question. Maybe I should wait till after the Brad's stats, but so does that game show you that you're getting closer? Or does that game show you that you still haven't figured out how to finish?
Both. That's why I just said a second ago,
Both.
I said it's close because it's close. You could see it coming. But it's also the second part. You haven't figured out yet as a team how to finish. And that's what you're still working on. That's a work in progress. You just haven't been able to do it. But listen, guys, it's the margin of error between that statement is so thin. Again, you don't step out of bounds one time and Chance Moore finishes with a dunk as Honor Huff drives underneath baseline, and we're not having this conversation. We're saying they've learned how to finish. They've learned how to win close games. They've come through in the clutch. They've had big play. And it's one play somewhere, right? You don't call a ridiculous offensive foul on Jasper Floyd, and maybe he finishes that game with a game-winning shot. And we say, how about the game Jasper Floyd had on both ends of the floor, including your senior playmaker steps up with the game on the line and finishes that game. Instead, he gets called for a push-off there when you don't even get a shot off. So the margin for error is right there. That dude, was it Welling at Clemson? I mean, he had 5 threes coming in the game. He misses one of the 2 threes that he made against us in the final 2 possessions, and we say, how about that big win? In a neutral environment, you go on the road, and this team grew up tonight, Hoppy. This team really grew up. And instead, we walk away because of 2 plays, one in each game, and go, well, this team's got to learn how to finish. Razor-thin margin for error at this level against really, really good teams.
Answer to your question,
So both.
they're a heck of a lot closer than they are farther away. I would be concerned if it was West Virginia that was behind by 16 and got beat by 15 or 18 points. Then you go like, wait a second, something's wrong. No, they're much closer than they are farther away. All right, let's do this thing. Textual Healing coming up. Spreads on stats right now.
So I check the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes the heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. They provide so much value beyond the numbers. Full-service public accounting, sure, but they're your consultation company. They will help you and guide you in your business. Remote accounting, it's available. CFO services, they can provide those as well. Visit Conley CPA Group for all of your number needs. All right, what stood out to you?
The one number, I'm going to give you a bunch of numbers here. Hoppy, we don't have another game to talk about, so steady yourself. The one number that I think jumped the most, and there was a bunch of them, Ohio State led that darn game for 5 minutes and 27 seconds of a 50-minute game. So it was an extra long game. They led it for 5.5 minutes. So when you talk about, I said disappointing is the word I walk away with, that's that. You controlled that game. You were absolutely burying them in the second half with 15 minutes to go. Led for 5:27. a couple of the things that are going to get lost bum me out a little bit. One of them is, I said earlier, that's one of the great individual defensive efforts from Jasper Floyd. And I know most people aren't watching as closely as we are, and I understand that. But they took a guy that was playing as well as anybody in America. It's one of the best players in college basketball, but playing as well as almost anybody else. Top 5 type of guy in terms of what he was playing in Thornton, Bruce Thornton, and held him in check for 99% of that game. Thornton finishes 1 of 7 from 3 after entering the game 56% from distance on the year. Just didn't get any easy looks. And I've got more coming up on Thornton, but here's one that illustrates how difficult Jasper in particular made it on him. And there were other guys that were helping, but Jasper had that Ohio State offense totally out of sync. That Ohio State bench was frantic trying to figure out what their next course of action was. And as good staffs do and as good teams do, they figured out in the second half and completely reversed course from what they were doing and said, all right, we don't have Bruce Thornton controlling this offense. How are we going to adjust? And they did. So give them a lot of credit, but that's what you get against good teams and good staffs. But early on, Jasper was all over Thornton, not only just on-ball defense, but wasn't letting him get the ball very easily. There's a stat out there from a group called Shot Quality. It's a really interesting group that puts things together, and the biggest thing they do, it's what it says. How quality are the shots that you're getting? And a lot of times they'll go back in and rerun the game based on how good or bad a shots you got and which team should have won or what the gap should have been based on you got a ton of great shots, you just missed them. You took a lot of low-quality shots, but you made them. We see that all the time in sports. In this particular game, they had Thornton listed as the highest number of low shot quality shots he had in any game this year. Backs up what you saw on the floor if you were watching that individual matchup a lot. So that defensive effort by Jasper will be underrated or not talked about because it didn't end up in a win, right? So that's one of them. The other part, and I'll get into some more numbers on him in a minute, Honor Huff's performance, I thought one of the really, really great shot-making performances in a West Virginia basketball game that, again, won't be talked about much because it came in a loss. And I think, and I'll give you some numbers here in a second on him, but from a macro view of Honor, he pushed his game forward coming out of that game the other night. He wasn't just a shooter. He became a scorer. He took advantage of wearing down that Ohio State defense and Thornton in particular and started putting the ball on the floor and running past those Ohio State defenders that were flying at him. And then what's the next stage of that? Those guys were flying at him, more than one guy, because he was taking all of their attention. That turned into Honor with a season high in assists to other players. So that's important from a playmaking ability. That's important from a strategy perspective from Ross Hodge on what he can do. It's important to have that on tape as you're now going against some very great defensive teams that have to decide how to play. It's not just simply now you can flood at a guy that continues to lead the nation in threes. His tear that he's on with, 23 threes in the last 4 games, nearly 6 per game, is just absolutely fantastic. So I'm disappointed. He had some big shots. That one from the corner we're mentioning where he's on the line, that should have been a shot that we talk about a long time from now. And say, remember that in Cleveland at that night, Honors hit that big 3 from the corner? That'll kind of get pushed aside because it came in a loss. So those are some numbers that disappoint me. Couple things. I'm just going to jump around. Some good, some bad. I mentioned that adjustment for Ohio State in the second half, and they got really good at attacking the rim. We mentioned it in our halftime analysis and said, hang on here because they're going to go right at the rim. They're going to try and reverse what the referees were calling. West Virginia had a massive free throw advantage in the first half, and we thought they would try and attack West Virginia at the rim. They did. Just between Tilley and Bynum, Ohio State on the game, 11 of 15 field goals at the rim. 11 of 15 inside. They were really good. It was a season high for Ohio State, 48 points classified at the rim. So that's within just a couple feet of the basket. They had a season high in points off cuts to the basket, where we saw that West Virginia would come for help defense or to block shots, and Ohio State just did a nice job of finding those baseline cutters off of the attention that the lane was drawing from West Virginia. They also had a high in season in putbacks off of offensive rebounds. So that's not just straight second chance points. That's specific, catch the offensive rebound and put it right back up, not kickouts. So they were high in those categories as well. Couple things on West Virginia's side. Shot it well from distance again. That's now 3 double-digit threes collectively for the team. 3 double-digit game performances in the last 4 games. So that shooting from multiple guys is starting to come. Obviously, that's aided by Honor Huff being blistering hot as well. Season high in points coming after timeouts. I've continued to say that. I think Ross and this staff do a tremendous job of drawing up sets coming out of timeouts. I realize you had some extra timeouts in this game because of the overtime session, so that number should be higher, but also really efficient in points after timeout. Season high in points from the pick and roll ball handler. Thought West Virginia was really good. That was Jasper for a while, who had a really good offensive performance as well. That's Jasper's best game of the season, both sides of the ball, in my opinion. Honor Huff also in the pick and roll set took advantage as well. You were 1 point off from a season high points at the rim. So you talk about things if you take different categories and if you just wanted one more basket, if Chance could have finished one more basket at the rim, he was really aggressive getting there. Jackson Fields went in for one early in the game, and it was early and there was a lot of basketball left, but man, you would have liked that. He goes in for a hammer dunk and he was elevating up. I think it was Bynum, just made an incredible block on him to erase that. So West Virginia did that pretty well as well. Let's do some honor numbers. He's averaging 4.1 threes per game. Now, that's the best in the Big 12 and the second nationally in made threes per game. His just raw number of 49 leads the country right now. He's 8th in the Big 12 in scoring at 18 points per game, and he's behind some dudes, man. To talk about the strength of this league and to show you what kind of early start Honor has had to this, right, for a guy moving up from Chattanooga, no question, can that guy play at this level? Yeah, the answer is yes. But look at some of these names he's behind us. He's 8th in the league in scoring. P.J. Haggerty from Kansas State was a first-team All-American last year. You're behind J.P. Toppin, pretty good player, defending player of the year in this league. A.J. DeBonsa. Hoppy brought him to our attention on this podcast last week. He's really good, likely number one pick in the NBA draft coming up. Christian Anderson, preseason All Big 12.
Really good.
Those
Texas
are 5
Tech.
of the guys in front of Honor in the scoring list. So he's been fantastic. You nearly had, again, what I said earlier, one of the great games defensively for the West Virginia program over the last few years, and certainly of the Ross Hodge era. Some specific numbers. Ohio State came in top 5 nationally in points per possession in transition. West Virginia held them to single-digit points in transition. Their second lowest points per possession of the season in that category. We talked about styles make fights, and that number of points scored ended up to where Ohio State wanted it, but that's normally where they get in a 40-minute game. West Virginia controlled that pace all game. Baseline out of bounds plays. You want to get in the weeds, Hop? Here we go in the weeds.
Go.
Ohio State came into this as one of the best in the country. Number 2 nationally in points off possession on baseline out of bounds. They score 60% of the time on those sets. West Virginia held them to a nearly season-low game in a game that had the most opportunities of the year. They had 4 points off baseline out of bounds. So, again, wasn't just one particular thing slowing them in transition. You were great on baseline out of bounds. How about pick and rolls? Talked about this matchup going into the game. Bruce Thornton came into this as a top 7 player nationally in points per possession off the pick and roll. West Virginia was top 3 percentile nationally in defending the pick and roll. Which of those were going to win out? You held Ohio State to the 3rd fewest shot attempts coming from the pick and roll. Thornton made a couple of those late with the game on the line, or that would have been their lowest point output of the season. It was still one of Thornton's lowest outputs efficiency-wise when you talk about points per possession. So you wanted to limit his ability to make threes. You wanted to limit him on the pick and roll, and you felt like you'd win. You did both of those, which is why it was so disappointing. You did exactly the 2 things at the top of the scouting report. I'll give you 3. Limit his ability on the pick and roll, limit his ability to drive right, and limit him from 3. Check, check, and check. And then those last couple shots, he just made big shots at the very end. Might have spent a few minutes on the last podcast on catch and shoot jumpers.
Yeah.
May have predicted there was some regression coming. Teams were having too much success on shots that normally don't pan out that way. This was the second fewest unguarded catch and shoots Ohio State has had all season. So yet another game where West Virginia did what the numbers tell you, have been top 15 in allowing the fewest unguarded catch and shoots. West Virginia in position on them almost all night. Here was the regression that came. Ohio State had 0 points from 5 unguarded catch and shoot jumpers.
They missed
it. Came. So again, Hop, as you start to add the things that you needed to have happen to get a win, kept saying there's regression coming. Someone's going to miss open shots on West Virginia. You're not giving up many. When you are, they're making you pay. Ohio State did not make you pay. And yet you didn't come home with the win. Again, categorize it under the disappointments. Let's look at...
I think all these numbers are also showing you why everyone that was involved, those that watched, those that listened, those that were playing, and it makes it disappointing because you, as he said, I mean, you control the lead for all but about 4 or 5 minutes. Is that what you said?
5:27.
5:26. You had the lead. You had all the statistical stuff going your favor, and then you didn't get the result. That's what makes you go, when you walk out of there, just sick.
That's why you categorize it under disappointing. So let's talk just offensively for a second. West Virginia, again, if you're trying to look for things, Hoppy, that you can move forward, excuse me, if you can pick some of this up and take it into the conference season, you're going to be in good shape. You had the most high, I mentioned that shot quality, the most high-quality shots that Ohio State's given up all season. You had them. You had the most points scored against Ohio State this season on guarded catch and shoots. So you were making tough shots. You had the most points scored on Ohio State this season on dribble jumpers. Honor was really good off the dribble jumper. You had the most points scored versus Ohio State after timeouts this season. The best points per possession after timeouts against Ohio State this season. I mean, you just go down this list, and about every category you wanted to win, you won, except the result at the end of the game. Go ahead, you were going to ask something.
Those are really good numbers, and those are numbers that are encouraging because for the most part you did what you set out to do. It's just a guy makes a play, right? I mean, Thornton is a pro, and at the end the guy makes a play, and that was the difference, right?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. They made the game-winning plays, and you didn't.
Yeah,
that's razor thin. And that was the result of it. So
really happy for Brennan Lorient to talk about some individual performances for a second. Belo was outstanding, perfect from the field on the night, 7 of 7. He was 3 of 3 from 3, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks. That was a performance you wanted Belo to have, a breakout moment. He had that there. He was really effective on the pick and roll. Second most points this season as the roll man, and that's massive for this offense. If you can get the roll man working on the pick and roll, and that can either be Jasper as the ball handler or, more importantly, Honor Huff. As you're looking for ways to get him open shots, one of those ways is to put him on the ball. And if he can pick and roll, and if he needs to drop that little pocket pass where you see a guy roll off the pick and he's like at the free throw line and you bounce past that in there and you can make a shot from there as Belo did early or distribute down, that's something you're looking for moving forward. So can you pick that and move it forward? That would be tremendous. I think a couple things if you're looking for areas that you want to improve moving forward. The at the rim inside stuff was tough both ways for West Virginia. West Virginia has to find a way to finish at the rim with a higher efficiency. They've just got to be better and stronger at the rim when they go. That's one of the things that really jumped out.
What was that stat? It was
I'm
horrendous.
pulling it up right now. Layups, and again, the stats were a little wonky at this game, so bear with me if this isn't exact, but it's in the ballpark. West Virginia charted as 3 of 12 from in layups, which is within like 3 feet of the basket. So those are ones, Hop, you look for a couple little areas. That was one. If you could finish a couple more at the basket. Now, you got to the line a lot off a lot of those as well. A lot of those led to free throw attempts. You had a massive advantage early in the free throw market, so that was big too. But that was one area where I'd like to see West Virginia, just the inside guys, and that's 4 or 5 different guys, take the ball and just friggin' hammer the thing. Go right up through somebody, Kercheval. So that's a work in progress with those guys. That'll come. You saw him attempt that a lot more the other day. And then on the flip side, Ohio State, again, I mentioned that adjustment. I thought Jake Diebler and that staff and that group did a great adjustment in the second where they just started going right at West Virginia, putting those officials in a position to make them call contact and or when West Virginia helped, and I mentioned this, drop the ball off to Bynum in particular, who had a season high in points off cuts to the basket, as did Ohio State's team. That's where they cooked in the second half, was as West Virginia helped, it left the rim open with no protection because your big went to help on the ball, and they did a great job of adjusting how they played.
Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. They do provide value beyond the numbers. 3 Guys also brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. And keep this in mind, if you're hosting family and friends this holiday season, let Tudor's handle that, whether it's breakfast, whether it's a lunch, mouth-watering biscuits, savory sausage gravy, home-style favorites. They've got it all. Spend less time cooking and more chatting things up with friends and family. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. 3 Guys also brought to us by our friends at Comax Business Systems. They've got every single piece of business equipment that you could ever imagine. They probably got one of them things that puts the 3-hole punches down, too. Those are kind of nice to have around the holiday season, right? Probably got some labelers, but you know what else they have? Business phone systems. The cutting edge of business phone systems. They're available now at Comax. You can check them out, give them a call, go to their website, and they'll walk you through. These things nowadays, they're better than having an Apple tag on your head. I mean, they'll find you. If your business people, sometimes, especially this time of year, Hop, if you got your salespeople are out, they might veer off during the course of the day. Supposed to be making calls, might be out doing a little Christmas shopping.
Might be.
You'll be able to track them down. Business phone systems are available. Visit comaxwv.com. And 3 Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales, the single largest pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Family owned for 4 decades. Award-winning Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They've got the Avalon pontoon boats made in Michigan and also designated recently as a Honda Marine premium dealership, the only one in West Virginia. Located in St. Albans, but you can visit them on their website. It is Lou Wendell Marine Sales.
Tony, that was a big win for Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're coming off that loss to Illinois, and they're like every team, Brad. They're figuring themselves out. What are they going to be? And I watched Debo's press conference, and he was thrilled.
Well, if you saw his reaction after the game, you could tell that wasn't a fake reaction. No. He big fist pump. Their schedule's brutal coming up too. They have North Carolina next, and then they're into Big Ten play with some of the top teams in there. So
but
it was a big win.
The same things we're lamenting were things they're celebrating, like, oh, okay, we showed we can come back. We showed when it gets tough, we can make a shot. So that was a huge win for them and a huge confidence builder for them going forward.
1 possession difference, right? Otherwise, he's sitting up there searching for answers, and we're saying all those things about this team. Can I give you one other football note that caught my eye this morning?
Oh.
Did you say football?
Yeah, football
please.
note.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was interesting. Hop, you may have seen this.
Yeah.
John Summerall's leaving Tulane to go to Florida.
Correct, sir.
So normally the coach leaves. Well, not normally. A lot of time, coach leaves. You do a social media graphic. Been an honor of a lifetime to be here. Honor of a lifetime, big word. Normally you get that.
Right.
In the old days, Hop, you would take out a full-page newspaper ad and thank the fan base.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Full-page what?
Full-page newspaper.
Oh, okay.
You know what you do now?
What do you do?
Interesting move. Summerall donating $100K to the NIL program at Tulane.
Really?
Pretty interesting move to say, I'm leaving you. Appreciate what you did. Appreciate being here.
Great touch.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop 100 to you to help out. Even I know I'm leaving you. I know you're in a tough spot. I know you got to restart the thing. Here's 100.
Mm-hmm.
You got me a raise, right? Thanks to your program, I got a raise. I'm gonna drop 100 back. I just wonder if that becomes a thing. If that was a one-off from a guy that just did that on his own. If other coaches start to follow that,
you don't think Lane's going to do that at Ole Miss?
Should do that. I just think that was an interesting touch. It did caught my attention. It also just, you wonder as you see what comes next in college sports, do schools start to structure some buyout dollars? Can they structure it so some of the buyout dollars go back in there? Do you structure it in that part of the buyout is a donation back to the NIL portion? So you're going to leave, and your buyout is what it is, but a portion of that has to go back into this fund. Can you do that? Will you do that? I don't know if you have to even ask, can you do it? I'm not sure there's rules anymore, Kirchhoff, on some of that. But it caught my eye that a coach was doing that of his own volition. I wonder, one, how many other coaches do that moving forward? And two, when schools start to, as you're looking for ways to drive more dollars, who's making the most money in your program? The head football coach. Now, when he leaves, is there a way to recoup some of that and put it back into the NIL coffers?
It's
something to think about.
It's a great visual move, but it's also a very smart move as well. You don't think, I don't know if he's using Conley CPA, but he probably should.
Yeah.
But he is about to get hit with a massive influx of new income. What does he need to do? He needs to be able to move that income away. What is that? That's a tax-deductible donations.
Not that, not that you're a tax attorney or a CPA. Not that you know what you're talking about when it comes to taxes.
No, but I know. Yeah,
Conley would know that.
Conley would know it.
Check
but like
with them, not you.
That's a pretty good move. That's a pretty good move on his part because hey, it's going to be taxable income. He can kind of give it a little bit there. It's a win-win. We call that a win-win in the business.
Just PR-wise, excellent. I thought it caught my attention and just makes me wonder what comes next in the world of NIL when you're looking for dollars.
No.
And how's that get tied to buyouts moving forward too.
3 guys before the game. Coming up, we'll have Textual Healing. But a sad note, as we learned just before we started to record, one of the all-time greats in WVU sports history, and I'm not just going to say football because he became an administrator and was incredibly successful in that world as well. But Garrett Ford has passed away, a just tremendous football player at West Virginia University. He really hit so many different things. He was a player, came back as a coach, became an administrator, and he was just one of those guys in an era of WVU athletics where everyone stayed, right? Like decades. People were in for decades. And Garrett was one of those guys. He became an academic administrator. And if the walls could talk in his office of the student athletes that he, can we say, changed the direction and the course of their lives, you could build an endless list. He literally gave guys opportunities, and if they didn't accept it, he would make sure they accepted it. Old school, and it worked, and he was beloved by those kids.
Tony, he was a guy that the players could relate to. The players went to when they had an issue, and who knows how many careers he saved because of his influence. And it's a fascinating story too, and Mountaineer fans have been around for a long, long time, might remember this, but he was one of the early black players to come to WVU. The first 2 were Dick Leffridge, who came from Hinton, I think it was.
Yes, correct. Yes,
Dick
Summers
Leffridge,
County.
and Roger Alford.
Mm-hmm.
Leffridge was a running back, and Alford was an offensive lineman. They came and they played 63-65. And Garrett Ford went to DeMatha, and I read this, and John Antonick is the historian for all things at WVU Athletics. I was reading one of his stories this morning, and a guy named Bob Gunther had played football at WVU, and he was living in the D.C. area, and he heard about Garrett Ford playing at DeMatha, and he got Ford on the phone with Gene Corum and managed to get Garrett Ford to come here for a visit, which at the time, Brad, was a long trip to get to D.C. to Morgantown. And that was a tough transition, too, because there weren't many – there was only a couple of black players. There was not a big black community here. And Leffridge and Alfred showed him around. They took him around, and they took him to Osage, where there was a black population, and where at the time black players had to go and get their hair cut because you couldn't get it in the white downtown. And they took him to White Avenue, where black folks lived. And but Garrett Ford said in the interview that he liked the way he was treated here, that there were white folks, but a lot of poor white folks who could relate to poor black folks. Mm-hmm. So he came here and had an incredible career, rushed for over 2,000 yards, had a 1,000-yard rushing season. And in the infamous Pitt game in 1960, I'm looking for the year, 65. West Virginia beat Pitt, Brad, 63-45. He rushed for 133 yards in the second quarter. And if you remember, and we all knew Garrett, he was a big guy, a big guy. Then got drafted, played for the Broncos for a couple of years, and then came back and had the long, long career here. So in the history of WVU athletics, a very substantial figure in WVU athletics.
Well said by both of you, and you could go back, and it's one of the many people in the history of this program that have contributed so mightily to wins that probably don't get the credit for wins, because you guys mentioned the academic counselor, academic side of what Garrett did late in his career at WVU. You probably could take academic off the title and just say counselor. You mentioned the relationships with players, so the number of guys that he not only helped on the academic side, but also on the personal side to fit in and to adjust to a different culture and climate and how it was, and just was integral in the success of this program for a long, long time, not only as a player, but then as an administrator as well. And certainly thinking about wife Thelma and then Garrett Jr., who we got to see at a recent 3 guys before the game tailgate. He stopped by Rev
absolutely.
Kev's trailer, and we talked to him for a little bit. So certainly thinking about them. Garrett was a good dude and a massive, massive personality and presence across this athletic department.
He had the standing and the gravitas to relate to players, because when they started into their hardship, he could say, "Wait a minute, when I came here," and then tell his personal story.
Sure.
He absolutely took no crap from anyone.
Right.
I mean, I don't care how big a kid was, football player, basketball, like totally indifferent to him. Just totally indifferent. He would old school.
Yeah, old school.
And I would imagine here that in the next several days you're going to start to see quotes from players that are going to say, completely changed the direction of my life, because he would not let me get a pass. And it's sad. He was a great mountaineer. Yeah. Different era.
Remember the Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah. And you know what? You talk about size, right? So he was big as a tight end. I mean, you would never think, like, if you said line him up and said, okay, what position did he play in college? You would have absolutely said, like, was he a tight end?
Was he a tackle?
But instead he was a running back, and he just would hammer it. I remember him telling me stories like playing Syracuse back then, and you're in the Larry Zonka days and those guys like that, and it's just old school boom, isolation football, and that was between the tackles.
Tony, when Leffridge and Alford, I was doing the research for this, when Leffridge and Alford came here in '63, that integrated the Southern Conference.
Yes, it did.
The Southern Conference, not just West Virginia.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. 3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Jan Dill's attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. They specialize when it comes to disability claims, military disability claims, Social Security claims. It doesn't cost you a single penny to engage with them. You can state your case. They can look at it for you. They can become your representative as you start the process, which is rather bureaucratic, as you might imagine, but that's what they do every single day. Doesn't cost you a penny until they get a settlement for you. So if you or someone that you know needs help when it comes to Social Security claims or military disability benefits, contact Jan Dill's attorneys at law, and they do have clients in all 50 states. Coming up here on Jeezy Peasy, just 4 more days until the 19th.
Wow.
That Marty's spin inside GoMart, that lasts until the 19th.
It ends then, so it's only 4 more days then?
Yeah, so if you've got the GoMart app, if you don't, go get the GoMart app. Go into GoMart, use the QR code. It lets you spin, and you can get all kinds of super neat stuff. It's Marty's Merry Spin. Treats, prizes, rewards, bonus points. Either way, fun for your holiday season. It's always fun to play a little spin game. So just go in to a GoMart and check it out. Also, opportunity there, $1,000 GoMart gift card, $500 shopping spree, $500 charity donation, plus an extensive line of beef jerkies this time of year. You go in there and get 300-400 pounds of beef jerky at GoMart. You just pull around the back, and they'll just put it into your car. Like, a lot of people think everything has got to go through the front door. When you buy 400 or 500 pounds of beef jerky at a GoMart, they'll roll it out there. Just straight into the back. If you need a pallet, they can probably take care of that too. You think that's all right, Brad? Probably so.
Just make sure you got space to back in there.
Just
to load it up.
Just check it out. It's Marty's Merry Spin this holiday season. All right. Again, really super quiet week. There are final exams going on, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Well, that's changed. You know, that whole world has changed. You remember when you had finals?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't sleep. I'd be like fatigue, like you pull these all night. Like, that's totally different now.
Yeah.
I go like, hey, you got any finals? Yeah, I got one, but it's an online course. I just have to. I mean, the stress is gone. I think it was good when you had stress.
I usually had like 4 or 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I'd come home like be like completely shot for like a week. My head would hurt.
Got a paper due. Haven't worked on it all semester.
It might have had something to do with not doing the work during the course of the semester, made it a little bit of a late push. That potentially could be something like that, but
possible.
It just totally changed now. All right, let's do this thing. It's time for wait a second, I hit the wrong key because I don't have headphones on. Yeah. Stand by. Let me do this again.
Go ahead.
It's time now for Textual Healing. Yeah. Alrighty, Textual Healing brought to us by episode800.com. Today, actually yesterday, the 14th of December, was the last day that we said you could order and be guaranteed of your item before Christmas. However, Homeless Dave was in here before we started the show, and he said they're going to do one more batch of Mountaineer Munch popcorn, and we will do everything we possibly can to get it in the mail and have it to you before Christmas. So,
but hold on. But that's not a guarantee by Christmas.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
That is not a guarantee. Our elves, the three-guy elves, will do their very best to package it. I feel good about it, but it's going to be a limited amount. So when it's gone, and it won't come back. Next thing we'll do will be the baseball popcorn, and we'll do the Valentine's popcorn, but Mountaineer Munch are going to be gone. If you're a big Mountaineer Munch person, here comes your last run, and we'll do our best to get it there. Thank you very much.
Do our very best to get it there. Not guaranteed by Christmas.
Yeah.
Can't.
See, Homeless
We'll
Dave.
do our very best to get it there.
Try.
Homeless Dave gave me an assignment, right? He told me.
Well, yes, he did.
That's what makes you worry?
Yeah.
I'm going to be bringing it to the Star City Post Office.
Homeless Dave's incredible.
Yeah, he is. Got a few things going on. All right, first off, let's do this. You brought 3 boxes in before the show. What do we got?
Open the letter there from Tommy Boy. See what it says. There's 3 boxes. I think I know what 2 of them are. You're right. This first one here,
That's
nice
pineapples.
These are awesome.
Those are. He gets those from Hawaii. Literally brings them in from Hawaii. A holiday poem. When Christmas gets stressful and tense as can be, remember the angel on the top of your tree, smiling joyfully, no matter what. Hey guys, Tommy Boy Independence wanted to drop off some goodies. As always, for making us laugh, everything West Virginia. Appreciate you guys. Especially, he likes to listen to us. He drives through 5 states. Enjoy your goodies. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Tommy. Tommy Boy. So that's pineapples.
Oh boy.
And those are really. You know, I got. Get your car keys. Use your car keys. Oh, here he goes. He made progress. Okay, we'll get to that. From the text line. The majority of the major conference TV deals are up between 2031 and 35. What is the prediction that you feel confident in as it relates to restructuring, reshuffling that will take place in this time frame? I personally feel confident in the expansion of the playoffs to include an extra round and elimination of conference championship games. And as I've watched the last couple of episodes, I can't help but notice that Hoppy's Captain Obvious costume makes him look like J. Russell Finch from It's a Mad, Mad World.
Yeah, I see the same.
A little bit. I mean, it's the same kind of a hat.
Hey, Tony, on the conference issue, and I make a habit, I guess, person of a certain age, I always read all the obits, and the obits in the New York Times are very well written.
Right.
Roy Kramer died.
Yes.
Roy Kramer was 96 years old, and Roy Kramer was a successful football coach. But more importantly for this reference, he was a commissioner of the SEC for 11 years. And during his tenure was when the SEC was really when the money started to flow to college football.
Right.
And he took over in 1990. I'm going to check here. Let me double check this. And during an 11-year period, the amount of money that schools received went from $16 million. It increased 6-fold during that time. Sixfold during that time. He also negotiated the first billion-dollar deal with CBS. So he was one of the primary individuals that helped engineer the huge financial gains that occurred in college football starting in about 1990.
Right. He, you want to know my interaction with Roy Kramer?
Yes.
So I was doing Tennessee, Alabama back in the day. That was Mutual Radio, Westwood One Radio Game of the Week. And the booth in Tennessee was massive. And Roy Kramer walked in, and the SEC boss. He said, "Is Keith Jackson in here?" Because Keith Jackson was doing the game on TV. I said, no, next booth over. All right, thank you. That was my Roy Kramer.
Oh, you did meet him, though.
Oh, yeah.
Sort
You know
of.
who knew him very well
Who's
was
that?
Dwight Wallace.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from their coaching circle days. Yeah. So, yeah. Here's what I think. To answer your question, Pete, what's the one guarantee when it comes to the reshuffling the next time these deals are done? I think one of the new big players will be a network that right now is not considered a big player. And we talked about this a little bit in the last show. TNT, TBS, the way that they're producing games, they're positioning themselves to take they want a major piece of this. And so I think that's one of the things that's going to happen.
I'm with Pete. I said it last week. I think if you listen to the narrative from national people, particularly on one particular network that has a lot of conference championship games, I don't know how you can think that conference championship games are going to continue. There's a lot of heat on conference championship games, and I think it sets up a narrative that allows those to go away while adding more to the playoffs and replacing the dollars there. This feels to me, I've said it for a couple of years, it feels like conference championship games are on their way out. Then you end up like something like the ACC did. I don't know how they do their tiebreakers. That was a wild way to do it, but Miami's sitting out there not even playing for a title, and Duke upsets the apple cart. That's a mess. That feels like that. I'm with Pete on that. I've said it for a while now. I think those are going away.
Well, think about this. BYU would have been much better served if it didn't play in the Big 12 championship game.
Now, Tony, they say in the playoff rules that you're not affected by the conference championship game.
This is, by the way, sometimes I exaggerate.
I don't know why I went 1930s voice that we did.
You did, but
sometimes I exaggerate about the size of things, but you can say I'm not exaggerating. This is the all-timer of all-timers.
Oh, my gosh.
Are you
that was one of the Tommy Boy gifts.
Are you kidding me?
A couple things. One, those probably are available at GoMart, right? Can you
Well,
get
yeah,
those
you
at
don't
GoMart?
know.
Yeah, you can buy this at GoMart.
The other thing, as first reported on this program, I told you Big Candy was pushing Kit Kats over the last couple of years.
No question.
Kit Kat has moved into favor with Big Candy, both in terms of quantity and size. Kercheval.
Look at that.
Wow. Look
Those
at that.
are two. There's 2 8-ounce, the half-pound Reese cups in that baby. I mean, sign me up. You're not going to open up the bottom one?
Well, I had so much trouble on the first one. I thought I needed to get back for this. I'll go in a minute.
Phil writes in, guys, I initially agreed with Hoppy about his views on bowl games and playing for a bowl championship. I can remember, here comes an old guy rant, he said, when bowls were special, one of my fondest, 69 Peach Bowl, West Virginia installed the Wishbone, ran for over 300, 75 Peach Bowl, Scott McDonald, TD. Times have changed, too many bowls. Used to be an 8-3 team, might not even go to a bowl. Now 6-6, you're in. We shouldn't reward mediocrity. Also, players skipping bowls to prepare for the draft to enter the portal has diminished the game. So, Hoppy, I'm going to follow the wise advice of Dr. Seuss. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Thanks for the entertainment, and I can't wait to get my popcorn. Signed by Phil. Phil, our elves are in that.
Couple notes as we get ready to begin our national radio on bowl games. Can't wait.
Tomorrow night.
Line up Jacksonville State and Troy.
Here we go.
Deep into preparation. Can't wait. Give me more bowls. Give me more games. That's, you know my stance. I just want more games. However, there is more games. We pine for 9 months for more college football. Give me these more games. But one quick bowl note, always a West Virginia connection. West Virginia, South Carolina played in the 95 CarQuest Bowl against South Carolina. Quarterback of that game, Steve Tannehill, multiple reports out this morning. He has passed away today.
Really?
Age of, I think it said 52.
Oh, my gosh.
No, he had the hair. He was one of the first guys that had the hair coming out of the back of his helmet.
Oh.
I'm sure most West Virginia fans will remember.
Oh, absolutely
Steve
they
Tannehill.
will. Yeah. Correction from our last show when Hoppy did his soccer recap. Orlando City, South Carolina, instead of Orlando City, South Carolina, Florida. There was a SC was soccer club, not South Carolina. Orlando City is the, and we had several people, right? Orlando City.
Oh, my apologies. I'm not that from.
Orlando City Soccer Club, which is in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of Mountaineers have played there through the years. Hey, Tony, a couple of shows ago you wore a 60s style West Virginia sweater. I was digging through some stuff in my basement. I found the beanie that all freshmen in the 60s were required to wear at West Virginia. They'd have to wear them until the first football game of the season was over. This would have completed your 60s wardrobe, which brought back memories to my early days. There it is, Hoppy.
Oh, my gosh.
They would have to wear those. That's a hell of a deal.
That's a good look.
It is.
You would wear them, wouldn't you?
I think I would wear one of those.
Well, why doesn't Phil get those generated again?
Well, those kind of hats aren't as big.
Phil do hats?
No, some. Occasionally he'll have hats.
Okay.
The original name of Kit Kats.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Was Roundtree's Chocolate Crisp
Oh, yeah.
from 1935. Enjoy the delicious taste of Roundtree's Chocolate Crisp. It's delicious.
Yeah. That is amazing. That Kit Kat box is amazing. Tony, Brad, and the fellas for the game in Cleveland, we got our picture made.
Oh.
The gentlemen graciously shared their time with 3 regular listeners, Ted in Warrington, also known as the Train Guy, Pepperoni Prince in Fairfax, Virginia, and Dave from the North Coast, a local for the game. Thanks for all you do. There you go, Hop. Ted.
Oh.
Now, Ted's in the blue, and he's the guy that when I said we should have more trains in the United States like they do in Europe, he pointed out that basically it wouldn't work in the United States.
One of the industries that he's offended train guys, although Ted was very good. He didn't take personal offense to that.
Did you offend?
There was an accountant in the group there with us that has also been offended by Tony. A lot of apologies to start the
Did you
the
offend
meet
the
and greet.
train people too?
Oh yeah.
No, I said, why the heck can't we have like good national train service?
He
And he
offended the
pointed
local
out
train.
why they have it in Europe, because everything is so close,
Yes.
and it covers the distance. He made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had fun. We talked with him in the lobby there for a little bit. First time texter, born and raised in Bridgeport and now permanent Akron resident. Sitting about 3 rows behind you guys to the left during the Ohio State game has been the most stressful game I've watched West Virginia play in years. Every time we see them in Cleveland, they go OT. This is crazy. Defense awesome. We forgot how to finish in the second half. Glad they kept Thornton in check. Your guys' analysis of what to expect was spot on. Keep up the great work. Texter, is it time to think about starting Chance more and bringing Trayson Eaglestaff off of the bench? It may help him at this point. He is playing about 20 minutes a game, was supposed to be a top scorer, but was not on the floor late. I think everything is in play at this point.
Yeah, I think Ross is nothing's set in stone. I will say this about Trey is had been coming. You saw the threes the night before, and just demeanor wise as you watch him play early in that game against Ohio State, man, it's exactly what you wanted to see. He wasn't just getting good looks, in which he got a ton of them. He was aggressive with the ball. That was a guy that was confident offensively and going to the basket and pulling up. In his threes, there was no thought about him. He just couldn't get them to drop. That was one of those nights they just didn't fall. And yeah, so that's still a work in progress. But, man, I loved his demeanor early in that game. You would have loved – that's one of those shooters get a couple to fall early, and it changes the whole tenor of the game. And I felt like just from if you took results out for a second and watched how he was approaching the offensive end, it's right where you wanted to be and got some great looks early, just couldn't get him to drop.
You know, I just think with Trayson, he's going to shoot the ball better. I think statistically, if you just take a look at his numbers through his career, he is a much better shooter than he's showing. And I do think, obviously, he is in a big funk right now, but I think over time, shots will start to go down for him. The body of proof is that he can shoot the ball. And I just still think, like we've said many times, he is still in a period of adjustment, and we thought potentially it might happen. You didn't know how long it was going to take. I still think he's going to have more good than bad as the season goes on.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, it's coming. The last couple games, you'd seen it coming along. So
Was there a Mike Gansey sighting?
He was just coming back from Australia.
Oh.
Traded text with him, but did not get a chance to see him.
Yeah, just coming back from Australia. Texter, such a heartbreaking loss for the guys. I worry with the Clemson loss. Now this one, will the team's psyche be that they can't actually win close games? I hope it doesn't linger in their minds, because league play is going to have lots of close games. P.S. Honor Huff has range that starts at about the GoMart and Ripley.
Amen.
Yeah, he can hit it from there. Hey, guys, West Virginia gave up 41 in the second half versus Ohio State, 41 against Wake, 42 against Xavier, 45 against Clemson. Is West Virginia unable to make adjustments to the other team's adjustments? Sean in Washington State. Well, yeah, those numbers obviously are just too high, and it's a process. They're not. I mean, it's not done yet. they'll get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, I'm not ready to make that statement yet. I will credit all those teams did a great job with what they did differently in the second half, and sometimes that happens, guys, when you're down big at halftime, as Clemson and Ohio State were. It forces changes, right? It forces you to play in desperation mode, and I think you saw both of those teams do that, and it did get them back in the game, so credit that. West Virginia, just in both those cases, just has to go ahead and match that desperation, even though you're in the lead, and stick them right where they stand. We talked about that, Tony, on the broadcast. When West Virginia got up 16, Hop, we said, all right, this is your this is the game is coming right here. They're going to make a run. They're going to go right at you. They've got nothing to lose now. They're getting run out of this gym, and they're going to make some changes. So either they're going to go on a run and get themselves back in this game, or you're going to stop that run, and that might be ball game. Mm-hmm. And we know they went on a 7-0 run immediately after we came out of that timeout. So West Virginia, again, has to get to the point where it just stops those runs.
Yeah.
And makes more shots.
I mean, you had your foot. They were on the ground, laying flat. You had your foot over their throat. Mm-hmm. And now what's going to happen? Either the person on the ground is going to push your leg away and stand back up, or you're going to be able to push your foot down on their throat and choke them out. West Virginia, up 16, needed to hit 2 more threes, needed to score 5 or 6 more points in a row, and then the thing
2 stops.
The thing goes away, and you're back up there, and then you go in a cruise.
I'll go back to my number, and I told you 24% from the 14 minute mark on. But here's how it went, Brad. Miss, 3-point miss, 3-point miss, miss, 3-point miss, make, miss, 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 make. Mm-hmm. So when I say was making a run, you had trouble, answering.
Yeah. Didn't answer.
But again, it's all interconnected, because the defense could have got a couple stops or a couple turnovers, and you go the other way, and maybe one of those threes doesn't have to be a 3, it's a layup, because you just got the steal at the midcourt. So both of those things, I know you're talking offense there, and that's right. A couple more would have helped, but you also needed a couple more stops defensively as they're going on a 7-0 run and taking it straight at you, because they're like, this is the game. We got to go now. We're in desperation mode. It'll come.
Ryan from Charleston also bringing up letting leads go in the second half. Is this a result of in-game coaching adjustments, lack of experience amongst our players at this level? Seems like a lot of guys disappeared in the second half against Ohio State. Thank you. Again, process, and it hasn't. They haven't reached that point yet, but it's closer than it is farther away.
Yeah, and I do not think it's adjustments, because I'll say this. Again, you're a 1 play in each of those games from this being the flipped result, and we're talking about how great West Virginia is at finishing off really good opponents in the game, right? It's literally a play in each game, and the entire narrative flips, and we're not asking questions about in-game adjustments or what players can do differently. So you're right there. You just got to keep coming and get the result, and then that narrative changes pretty quickly.
Josh and Mason, West Virginia, also same kind of a deal. Second half adjustments. Tony mentioned Ohio State being fatigued late, so it doesn't seem to be a conditioning problem. What is the blame for these collapses? Well, you stop making shots, and they, like Brad said, they changed their style, put their head down, got to the rim, got to the foul line, made free throws. Now that's one of the biggest things. Their free throw shooting was just off the chart good, and they made them count. Texter, I watched the Heisman Trophy presentation, saw Curt Cignetti say a few words. Plan on watching 60 Minutes piece on Indiana. I did a search, which indicates West Virginia has never pursued Cignetti. He was raised in Morgantown, was our QB, for crying out loud. Possibly you guys could share any thoughts or stories on West Virginia's past activities related to Curt.
I don't know any.
Here's my thought, and maybe John Antona can help me with this. Well, here's my thought why his name has never come into play when the job was open, right? The reality of it is, he was here and he graduated here. His dad was fired from here. His dad was fired from here while he was undergoing cancer treatment. I would think that he has less than a favorable disposition about that whole situation. His name never has come up.
He's
back
never
when Don Nealon left, all the way through Dana and Neil and Rich now the second time. I mean, that I'm sure did not go over well.
We've all been here a long time. That's never a name that I have heard talked about of, hey, you know who was in touch? You know who stopped in today to say hi? Curt Cignetti was in town today. Stopped by the offices. The Bowdens were. Rich was. I mean, there's a lot of guys that had left that were. Kurt was never one of those guys. I think you're probably right around that, number one. Number two, frankly, nobody pursued Kurt Cignetti. This is one of the all-time unbelievable stories in college coaching. Dude was in his late 60s at James Madison. This wasn't somebody that had, despite success previously at some stops, did not have programs knocking down his door. And I don't mean this in our joking, with all due respect. The fact that he would accept the Indiana job shows you what he thought about potential opportunities moving forward. He'd won a lot at James Madison. Obviously, had some great players that he's taken to Indiana. If he thought there were other opportunities coming at his age, he would have waited and passed on one of the worst college football jobs in the history of college football. But he did not, Hop, right? He took that job probably figuring, I don't have a lot of options moving forward at my age, and there's not a lot of opportunities coming along. I'm going to take this. Now, all credit in the world for him for what he's done for those 2 years. It has been as good a 2 years as you've seen anywhere, Bill Snyder included, right? 2 playoff berths and a Heisman Trophy winner at that football program. Are you kidding me? So it's an unbelievable performance, but it wasn't just West Virginia not pursuing him. There wasn't anybody pursuing him, as far as I know.
Yeah. And, a lot of times when these jobs do open, I mean, there needs to be also a wave of the hand from an agent contacting West Virginia and saying, hey, so-and-so is interested in this position. I've never heard his name.
I haven't either.
And there's timing issues as well.
But also, never mind the call when the job opens. Those calls from the agents usually come well before. Hey, next time you have a search open, my guy would keep my guy in mind here. I don't know that I ever heard that either.
No, never came across.
How about Diego Pavia's tweet?
Yeah, he since pulled it back, and he apologized. Whatever, man.
Guy that's fought his whole life. He always feels it's him against somebody else. I get it. Part of that attitude's what's made him into a player that no one thought he could become. So is what it is.
Yeah.
Move along. He apologized.
Are we coming back later this week? We're going to do a preview of Mississippi Valley State. Yeah, I guess we are, aren't we? Yeah. Plus, we'll find a few other things. I mean, our elves are out there. A lot of shopping. Don't forget, if you'd like the popcorn, strongly encourage you, get it before it's all gone. And once it's gone, it's gone. I mean, it's gone. Mountaineer Munch, that'll be it.
Right. There'll be different flavors of popcorn coming. This is the last batch of Mountaineer Munch.
We will do our best to have it into you before Christmas, which is quickly moving away. Special thanks to our producer, Jake. 3 Guys Before the Game brought to us by GoMart. Get a GoMart rewards card, gomart.com for the details. Download the app. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. They're ready to cater for you. Tudor's Biscuit World. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. And by Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. They won't take no for an answer. Simply, they don't know. They just won't take no. Don't know what that word means. And lastly, by Conley CPA Group, providing so much more value than beyond the numbers. All right, that'll do it for us. For Hoppy, the Senator, back again later this week. We'll find something to talk about. You know what? There is something in the burner.
What?
A possibility.
No.
What?
No, there's not.
There's a possibility.
There's not a possibility.
I might have something. You guys take care. I might have something. See y'all.